this is a pretty legit ThursdAGE. Not that we don't always run a legit ThursdAGE, but Owen, I think we kind of live in an adventure-based kind of in the moment, and we've done some world building, but today we're building a whole star system.
I mean, there's a certain mind frame that we tend to carry over from our RPG work into Handle We Tackle This Show, largely because I don't know how to do anything else. So, if every problem you have is a nail, then you get a hammer. If the only skill you have is writing RPGs, you treat everything like an encounter.
That's right. Yeah. Today we are hanging out with, one of the coolest kids in the industry, just a cool dude, Ian Lemke. Hi, Ian. This is our little...
Hi.
You're not on yet.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm on yet. Okay.
Yeah, not quite yet. So you know what we like to do? We like to do a little pre-funk. Let people kind of float in and get a sense of the vibe. Say hello in chat. A reminder, hey, Jeremiah McCoy says, hi, kids. Jeremiah, hello to you. A ThursdAGE. Good ThursdAGent.
Does that good ThursdAGent suggest the existence of an evil ThursdAGent?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there is one.
Absolutely there is.
Maybe in a spy versus spy kind of way.
Duke, hello to you. The music poll today was just not bad. I mean, I don't know, you can't really dance to this, but ThursdAGE and Duke reporting for duty.
Troy, I can't really dance to anything, so it's not going to be any worse to this than it is to any other kind of music.
Yeah, that's true. You can just, I say dance like nobody's watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's always my theory.
Yeah, if I dance very quickly, no one is watching.
I like it. All right. Well, so listen. We've got Beyond the Ring, and it's ready for pre-order. And people are like, oh, gosh, that's great. I can't wait to get it. Well, here's the thing. Go pick it up, because you pick up the pre-order for the book, and you get the PDF for $5. Like $5.
Yep.
You get all the tools to build your own star system. I mean, like that's cosmically cheap.
For the tools to build a star system, yes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like and of course this is what we do. We just kind of make those tools and make them available to you. But yeah, for $5. So you'll want to head on over to the Green Ronin store, and in that store, you will click on a link that you will see here momentarily, and in the chat. So if you're watching this on demand, stick around, because I'm from the future, and it's a great show.
You always say that, Future Troy.
Future Troy is very generous.
That's true.
Very kind.
I'm looking at this art, and I'm pretty sure I've paid at least $5 just for screensavers that are that nice.
Yeah. Oh, the art is
without
insane.
even having game rules attached.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I wonder if should we lower shields?
Oh, by all means.
Let's do it.
There are no shields in the Expanse, though.
That's true. There aren't. That's a really point.
At
Hey,
least not
Stan.
yet.
Good to see you. That is true. Stan says that Future Troy hasn't been wrong yet. Yeah, you need to get that, Jeremiah. I'm going to... All right, everybody, welcome to ThursdAGE. We're going to get started here. A great episode. Now, this is, I think, our first Expanse, our first episode focusing on the Expanse. And we've had Ian on once before, I believe. Ian, I think you popped on to say a little bit about...
for like 5 minutes. Yeah.
That's right. Well, I know everyone's like, what does Ian look like? And I'm here to say both of these handsome gentlemen are hanging out. Hi, guys.
Hi, folks.
Hello.
You are. So we are going through Beyond the Ring, and you're going to walk us through all of this, and then towards the latter part of the program, we're going to create a star system and then destroy it. No, I'm kidding. Then we'll, kind of see where we go.
You might. We'll see what happens.
And then, here's the other thing. There are bound to be some questions. And so, folks, if you got some thoughts or you want to ask something specific about how a thing works, or you want to kind of adjust terminology, or you just let it rip, and we will, just let us know in the chat, and we'll get to that. And so, without further ado, Ian, hi.
Hi, nice to be here. This is my first real ThursdAGE, I think. I mean, I did pop in for 5 minutes before, but.
Yeah, so. You were also in sort of ensconced in a very evocative cloak.
Yes. Well, I was getting ready to run Cthulhu Awaken.
That's right. That's awesome. Oh, Duke says just bought the PDF. Fantastic. Jeremiah a sale. Cha-ching. Jeremiah says one of the 30,000 systems you can live in. Don't pick the wrong one. The beautiful thing is you're making it. So your star system is, the one you make. Before we jump in,
we could have tried to sell 30,000 star systems all written up in a book, but I get the funny feeling people would complain that they can't use all of them. So a system generation system seems like a system generation system. A set of rules for generating a system seemed like a better design choice.
Though we do have a fair number of new worlds in here. I mean, we have a bunch of stuff to pick from, which we'll go through. So.
All right, well, let's lay it out. So what is Beyond the Ring?
Beyond the Ring, it sort of moves the timeline forward with the Expanse, because up till now, everything we've published has mostly been pre the gate opening. And this takes us beyond that time. The book is designed specifically to be a little nebulous. It can be anything from right after the gate opens to some number of years after. We don't nail it down specifically when everything is taking place here, but you can kind of tell from the system descriptions and such that it's sort of targeted at a few years after the ring opens up.
Gotcha. I feel like Stan brings up, is it like in Old School Traveler, can the star system die during creation?
Well, stars couldn't die. That's a gotcha, because stars couldn't die during creation. Only characters, only people died. But no, sorry. But it is reminiscent of the Traveler system for making stars. Star systems. Any kind of system you do is going to come down to some dice and here's your choices. So.
I gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Well, so I'm stoked for this. I'm very excited to learn how to build, or just all the tools that are in here, and what you've brought for us. So let's just roll with it.
All right. Well, I'll start here with the contents. Just sort of, it's not very exciting, no art, but basically we've got 5 chapters. That chapter 1 just goes into it after Venus, 2 Medina Station, 3 worlds beyond, which you can see is the bulk of the book, and then Colonies and System and World Creation which we're going to get into today. We also have some cool sheets for all of that. The
sheets
is there's like sheets.
Nice.
Sheets. So chapter 1, after Venus, basically gives us a bunch of information about what all happens after the ring. Well, the jellyfish-like thing that becomes the ring leaves Venus, and what the repercussions are throughout the solar system, and also a little bit about how things work within the ring space. It also we have a lot on Medina Station. There's a big chunk here on Medina Station to really set that up as a focal point for adventures and that sort of thing.
Beautiful. Hey, is there any sort of discussion about, a lot of people were impacted by the sort of creation of the ring.
Right.
And I'm only concerned because, I with some friends over at Abraxas Precipice, my character that I was playing was sort of absorbed into the blueness of it, and we're just kind of like, okay, well, there we go. And then suddenly there's the ring. We're going beyond the ring. Am I the ring?
Are you the ring?
I don't know.
I don't know. No,
Wild.
we're going beyond the ring.
I see. I see. Well, yeah, I'm more so thinking about that character who their demise. Did they die to create this ring for?
Oh, then I probably. Oh, and you
nice.
have comment. It looks like you have a comment there. Oh,
your mic is
Owen.
Not everything is going to be answered by a game book because there are questions that are not answered within the setting.
Yeah,
right.
I just have to go with my gut. So I want everyone to thank my character for being, sort of dematerialized and much like myself in real life. And anyway, so go on now. This is very interesting stuff. Yeah.
Owen brings up a good point. In that obviously we are somewhat limited by the canon of the universe that the Corey's created, and. But we were given license to sort of push the boundaries and come up with some new things of our own. But there are certain fundamental things that we just couldn't really discuss because
because it's mystery.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeremiah asks, is it before Laconian gunships?
Yes, it's before the Laconian gunships. There will. No, I can't say that. there may be some point in the future a book that gets a little bit more details on that. But no Laconian gunships yet. I'm sorry, but lots of stuff of different worlds.
That's great. I mean, that's that's a lot.
Oh, I was saying there's a whole chapter on Medina, which gives you a lot to work with. You could establish an entire campaign around Medina Station, all on its own. And there are story hooks throughout as well. Different things here. And there's a whole section on actually running a Medina series. So to help out game masters there.
Fantastic. Hey, real quick, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but the art in this is amazing. I mean, it is really phenomenal stuff. I was trying to get to the credits real fast because we, our listeners, what they like to do is go, seek out those artists and give them kudos and all that kind of good stuff, which I think is kind of fun. But
the art is amazing. I mean,
it's spectacular. It's really, I mean, I've been involved in a lot of sci-fi RPG products over the decades, and this art is definitely right up there at the top of quality and faithfulness to the setting. People may have seen one vision of what all of the Expanse stuff looks like if, for example, they watch television. And this doesn't look exactly like that, but I feel it does at least as good a job of looking like what you would expect when you read the books. And that can be a very important, evocative part of role-playing, because it's easy to say, the starship looks like a office building turned on its side, but with rockets, and that doesn't really give you a feel for what these look like.
But there you can see it right in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the cover art was Mark Graham, and then interior art, Dimitri, I think it's Balak, Anthony Fernandez, Mark Graham, Jack Hoyle, Riz Kim, Mirko Paganisi, and Jonathan Torres. So yeah, great stuff in there. Very evocative.
Nice. What was it? I was going to say something about the art, but I'll just move on. Other than it's gorgeous. So the next chapter here is Worlds Beyond, chapter 3, and this is where we get into a lot of the fun stuff. The first section is featured worlds, and these are worlds that were featured in the novels in one way or another. Some of them were just kind of mentioned a little bit, and we expanded on them. Some of them, are featured a little in a little more detail, like Ilis New Terra. There is art for every world in this book that we did in this book, which is one of the aspects is amazing. And it really we really worked hard to come up with something for each one that captured the feeling of that world, like the cool thing that goes on there. With the featured worlds, we did not go into a whole lot of detail, and that was due to some limitations of when this was written. There was still other books coming out, or another book coming out, another novel. So we didn't know exactly what's going to be mentioned where or what. So we kept the existing worlds fairly limited, but we did expand on them in places. And there's Laconia, the space station. But then we get into the really fun stuff. We have a few dead systems. We had some fun with that, with strange stuff that people might find beyond the gates. But then we come to new worlds, which is the fun stuff. And there are, I forget how many new worlds. I'd have to go count in the index, but it's a lot.
It's like 20,000.
Well, there aren't that many ring gates, so I don't think.
Oh, see, yeah, that's too many. Sorry.
Yeah,
it'd be 10,000.
10,000 or
1,300. I mean, it kind of depends on how we want to count them, but
that's true. Yeah, but a lot,
Yeah.
enough to be useful.
My favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite featured system. There were so many that were so cool. There's one with dinosaurs. I think that was one of my favorites. Okay. They're all dinosaur-like creatures. And there's a lot of shenanigans that goes on with that, with film companies trying to actually film movies there and things like that.
That's great.
Yeah. So each system, these, as you can see, we get into a lot of detail. There's description of the system, the biosphere, and then you get all the nuts and bolts, the star type, satellites, orbit. And really, obviously, most of this isn't going to really come up when you're playing the game, but it's great for flavor, to give people a sense of what this world really is like. Biosphere, and then the settlements, and each one has a story hook as well. You see that, and as you see, there is art or two, and a few games. Oh, there's also a Dyson sphere, which is kind of cool.
Hey, okay. I just got bingo on my sci-fi card. This is perfect.
This guy is one of my favorite aliens. I think. I don't know.
That is great. Okay. Yeah, is it sort of a fungal simian?
Fungal lemur-like thing.
Sure.
Anyway, as you can see, this goes on and on and on. And so I will skip down.
People at home, maybe, as they're watching this, are like, oh, I wish it was bigger. Well, there's one way to fix that. And that is to make sure you head over to the Green Ronin online store and you click on the link that you'll see in chat. And then you will pick up that pre-order and then you will get a deal. It'll say, hey, don't you want to pick up this $5 PDF? And then you can look at it as we go through it, whether it's on demand or you're watching now. So head on over there and follow along, and you can resize the art and text so that you may see it in all its glory.
Yep. Again, I just paused on this one because it sort of illustrates some of the cool stuff. The artist, the writers had a great time coming up with strange stuff that's on these worlds. Of course, we had to keep it within the boundaries, within the guidelines of the Expanse, but which took a little bit of banging around to make sure that thing was appropriate, but that they came up with a lot of really creative stuff.
I'd imagine that is one of the more challenging aspects of kind of creating these source books, and that is just the propensity to just sort of fill the world with fantastic things and theming it into the Expanse and kind of adding a little wistfulness of what you would hope to see, and then you're off to the races, but maybe it might sometimes go too far.
There were definitely a few that came up with some ideas that would into the universe of the Expanse. one submission, one of the outlines had some beings on it that were basic sentient, and as we know from the novels, none of the planets, at least that were encountered, had any sentient life on them. So, we had to be careful to stay within the bounds, but still, there's some wildly creative stuff in there.
Fantastic. That's exciting.
I frequently get asked by people, what does a line developer actually do? And this is an excellent example. Ian has to have a really good feel for what is and isn't appropriate within the Expanse. And then when freelancers come to him, we want them to be creative. We want them to do stuff we wouldn't think of. But you're in this tricky place where dinosaurs, good. Flying, fire-breathing dragons, bad. And that line is not necessarily obvious. So having the line developer be able to say, I understand this. I've been part of the approval process. I've absorbed the source material. I know what we've already written. That subject expertise is one of the things that is important. And Ian has done a really great job leaping in and producing. I mean, one of the things I like about this job is I get to see and read some of the stuff before, all the rest of you plebes. And so I really enjoy
agents. He meant agents.
Plagents. I really enjoy getting to see this, and also reading some of the conversations about, should we do A, should we do B? I've had nothing whatsoever to do with these books, but that just means I've gotten to enjoy them as a fan of the series and a fan of the game system.
Yeah, and
so
a fan of Ian as well. Yeah,
and a fan of Ian as well, which is why I wanted to take a moment to call out, folks. This is great stuff, and obviously, this being ThursdAGE, it is great stuff as a adventure game engine player, but also if I was running any science fiction series where I would want to come up with systems, I would be very interested in having this book for the stuff it has in it to spark new ideas, new places, to borrow ideas that I can, it would replace my old Traveler set for being able to say, hey, here are some new and interesting things.
Yep. I love that. Ian, when you're kind of in this space, do you sort of submerge yourself in all of the fiction, redecorate your office so that it looks like you're on a spaceship? How do you get into that headspace?
I throw on my jumpsuit,
right.
And you may have seen some of the pictures, but no, I mean, I've read all of the novels at least twice, some of them more than that. And generally what I do go back and read the book that's most appropriate to whatever I'm working on at the time. And, or just even go and read sections or chapters and watch the TV series, even though I have to be careful to keep the two separate. Because we're based on the novels, not the series.
Right. Yeah.
So, which is a pain. That's one of the development nightmares of the Expanse, is keeping separate what's the TV series and what's the novels. And people say, "Oh, there's the wikis online." The wikis lie. They are not accurate at all.
Not canon. Yeah.
So, and they'll say this is from the novels, and it's not.
Gotcha. That's great. Don't
get me wrong. I love the wikis. Thank you, whoever does those. But you have to be really careful in this kind of situation.
Right.
That things like wikis can be a great place to start your research. They just can't be where you end your research.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Wow, that's a great piece of art. Yeah,
I love that one. It's probably Ilis Nutera. It's not specifically called that as such, but it's great. So this chapter, Colonies. If you join us for the actual play, we're going to be doing starting next week.
That's right.
You'll get to see how the colony system works. We're actually going to go through with the players making their own colony. Wiki sly. We're going to go through the players making their own colony, and then run an adventure that's tied in with the colony, and then we'll actually do colony advancement and such to see how what they do impacts the colony and such, because colonies can advance just like player characters as time goes on. But I'm not going to get into too much detail there because we're going to cover all of that then.
Nice.
All right, don't go into too much detail, but go into just a tiny bit more detail about colonies advancing, because that's exactly the sort of thing that can get someone to buy the book.
Okay, fair enough. So here I'm on it right now. Basically, it's up to the game master ultimately how often you do this, but every X number of weeks, months, whatever, you can make a growth check, see how well the colony does, and how does it actually does it grow? Does it have problems? And then you can have colony mishaps. There's also colony growth stunts, as you can see. Colonies can gain conditions from mishaps and other problems. And so the stunts might allow you to remove those. Or one of the cool things is if something's going wrong, there's some issue that you can run it as an adventure. You sort of have a choice of how you deal with it. You can just do it as die rolls if it's just the colony's running itself and you just want to see how it's doing, or you can make the outcome dependent on how the adventure with the characters does.
Okay. So a question for you, in the context of I am a player,
Mm-hmm.
what is my relationship to the management of this? Is it something that am I just running a background,
Right. So
yeah.
Yeah, the colony creation thing is sort of has the twofold purpose. The first, it can just be used by the game master to just create colonies, just like the system creation system. If you just want to create a colony, you can do it randomly or just choose off the charts or what have you, and that way you have a nice solid. This is what this colony is. This is who they are, and this is what they do. Or you can tie in the player characters in some way. The characters could be a group of MCR Marines protecting a Martian colony. They could just they could be involved in any number of ways. They could be investors. This could come as a second part of a campaign. You could have the first where the characters become extremely wealthy, and then they actually become like investors or founders as part of an actual
I
colony.
like that. So Jeremiah does ask a quick question here, which I think is interesting. Now, we've got Sword Chronicles. That's our feudal fantasy role play title tools. Did we draw from any inspiration from some of those mechanics, or is this a new?
It's not so much from Sword Chronicles as much, though. I mean, there are some similarities. I am familiar with the Sword Chronicles systems. There are some similarities, but it's not really drawn from that as much as there is. Crystal did this, and it's based on the modern age rules for organizations. And
you have Crystal Fraser, and yeah, that's great. Love it. I absolutely. Hey, real quick, just in, I'm getting reports of Ian Lemke in a jumpsuit. Nice. I like that. That's great. Yeah. And you know what I say? Get you a line lead, a developer who will just cosplay, in this stuff that they're making. I mean, that's when it's really, happening.
Oh yeah.
Surprise! Yeah. Anyway,
Ty mocked me for my wrench actually on Twitter or Facebook.
That's nice. I bet you'll never wash that wrench.
Yeah, I think always say something. I can't believe I wrote something that a wrench can be part of cosplay or something like that.
I like it. Jeremiah says cool. And then Larry says, was that the Stargate wrench?
Yeah. Exactly.
Different IP.
Yeah, different IP. There we are. And then there's some sample colonies see, you'll get an idea of, how those work. There's economy, force, infrastructure, media, science, with different stats, their size, and they have resolve and stability, which can take damage. And then there are threats. There are things like blight or major storm or local predators. And then you can also have projects such as, construction or mining or attempting scientific breakthroughs, studying protomolecule builder technology, and trying to come up with new technologies. So there's all kinds of possibilities. But this is what we're really here for today. Dun, dun, dun. No speed senpai.
I love it.
So yes, lots of images of ships and worlds in this book. But I love that.
Oh yeah, me too.
The ring. So this gets pretty in depth. There's a little bit of science here, which we treat as gently as possible. One of the things is I want to remember that this is a role-playing game and a game, not a science book.
That's right. Yeah, we don't let science get in the way of fun.
I didn't want people to get lost in the science. We thought about going down the rabbit hole a little further in places. Decided that was not necessary.
Oh, I see. So yeah, we didn't get too technical, but all of the science is true, and everything in this book is 100% provable by science. I love it.
This week. Things change.
Awesome.
But yeah, I don't know. Are there any? Do we want to pause? Are there any other questions or anything about the rest of the book before we dive in and actually make a system? Owen or Troy, do you have any?
So it's the thing I always bring up about the Expanse, because it's one of the things that really made me love it as a game system. Talk to me about the churn, both the origin in the Expanse and how it applies in the game.
So the churn. Let me actually just pull that up here real quick. Churn is cool because what it does is it sort of gives the game master carte blanche to bring in the catastrophic things that happen during a story, but it's coded into the rules, so the players don't necessarily feel bad if something horrible just happens. And I'm always forgetting the core thing here, but there it is. Okay. So
as I put the developer on the spot,
right. This is a secret, not so much a secret. Anybody who knows me or has played a game with me, I am terrible at remembering rules, and even worse at remembering rules of games I work on. Well, especially ones I've designed, because then I can never remember which version I'm working from.
I totally get the what version problem. I mean, especially when I'm working on age games, because I'm like, is this original Fantasy Age, or is this the new Fantasy Age, or is this a modern age? Where is this rule, and what am I thinking?
I think I've seen Owen have really great ideas that he's already had live on camera. So
totally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Larry says the concept of the churn spoke to my heart. Yeah. I like
so basically, since I don't have it available to put up, I'll just hold up the book here. There you go. You got this churn chart in the core rulebook. I'm guessing most people here probably already played Expanse, but if you don't, that's what it looks like. And basically, every time a character succeeds on an ability and rolls a 6 on the drama die, if you spend 4 or more points, performing a stunt, if you spend fortune points to alter a roll, if you successfully overcome an encounter or hazard, and at the end of every scene, the churn tracker goes up 1. And then there are different stages of the churn. When you hit the first stage of the churn, character's fate can face some sort of setback. Game master, a character can automatically fail. NPC might suddenly not like them as much. Just whatever little thing like that you want to throw in. And then it goes all the way
into the sun.
Yep. No, not that. That is epic. That's when you get to the end of the turn tracker.
I see. I see.
If you get that far into it, that's when really, really horrible things can suddenly. There could be a terrible hazard they have to overcome that the game master just introduces. Some kind of poisonous coolant starts leaking from the ship. Anything really dangerous like that. But basically, it's the kind of thing where characters may end up having to sacrifice themselves to save the group.
Larry brings up something very funny, and that as a person who has worked in the past in video games, the community can sometimes be so much more knowledgeable than kids. People are kind of siloed, and also these are projects that you start some time ago, and then many other projects kind of come after that. But that's an interesting insight. Joseph asks, are there rules or systems for politics?
Not so much. We don't have. But there's lots of. I'm sure he's talking about the core book himself. There's a lot of information about the politics and how they bounce off of each other. But there's not actually rules for governing the politics. At least not yet.
Although the churn and colony development are both things that you can, as a GM, blame on and plug into politics, right?
Oh yeah.
We totally had this. We have all the support we need. Here we come. Oh, churn. Turns out one of the factions has decided not to operate with you anymore.
That's a perfect use of the churn.
Exactly.
You made an ally, and suddenly they turn on you.
That's awesome, man. I want to shout out to Ron, who says longtime 5e player and new to this game system last week, actually, and I really dig it. We really dig it that you came by to tell us about that. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Ron. Welcome to the family.
That's right. And you'll never leave, Ron.
Okay.
All right, let's dial it back a little bit, Troy. You're scaring the new folks.
Sorry. My churn popped off.
Yeah, it's true. That was definitely a minor churn moment.
I broke out my Belcher dice.
Someone says something they think is funny that offends your allies. All right, yeah, that's definitely a churn moment.
That's definitely a ThursdAGE moment. I love that.
The thing I'm most sad about the dice is these came out. When these came out, I haven't had a chance to play a game of the Expanse in person as of yet. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, we're fast approaching that time though, right? Very soon.
I'm going to hand it over to Ian for just a sec. Someone will not leave the door alone. I'll be right back.
Okay, great.
Well, unless someone has, and if there's any other questions or whatnot, I will jump in and start making a system here just to sort of.
Okay, nice. Do we want to go ahead and pop our share screen back up and show that?
That would probably
Excellent.
be best. So step one, let's look at this number of stars.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Before I want to get this in. This is great. Our friends at the RPG Alliance, and this is going to cover up Ian's face. We ran the Expanse at Role Players for Ukraine, and had a great time with Captain Ron blowing up a bunch of pirates. Good time, and we used construction mech from the core book. Cool.
Very cool.
I dig. Thanks for sharing that. That means a lot.
Cool. And I just. Put me back on the screen just as I'm talking down. All right, drop the die.
Right, yeah.
The whole physical dice here, just because I feel like it. So the first thing you do is you'll see here number of stars. It's a 3d6 roll. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll that in my little Cthulhu dice tray. And I got looks like 16. So a 16 would be 2 stars.
Okay. Jeremiah says pandemic gaming has reduced the use of cool dice, not eliminating, but it certainly cut back on it. And I know for a fact, myself included, there are many people who are ready to deploy the cool dice that they picked up over the pandemic. And yeah, I think we're gonna see some showboating once convention season hits full swing. Yeah,
there'll be some nice dice out there.
Yeah.
Luminosity, a 10. So we're looking at a class 5 main sequence. And I'm rolling this one up today, and I may or may not use it for the game that we're running. We'll see how it turns out. Primary spectral type. All right. What am I looking at here? All right. Spectral type. Roll. All right. 3d6. Okay. What do you? Okay. I have a 5. Roll 1d6 plus 5. So 7 puts us at a G yellow, which is that's pretty much our star. And you'll see here how different bounce off of each other. Like your luminosity class affects what you actually roll for the primary spectral type.
Hey, could you give me a quick could you roll and tell me what I get?
For what?
Just random. Just a random roll. I just have dice right next to me, and I need.
I rolled 3d6 and rolled a 11, 12.
Oh my gosh, that means we get we've summoned an Owen Casey Stevens. Nice.
Woo! I succeeded.
There we did it. We've done it, everybody. Oh yeah, Duke. Nice gem dice. Right before pandemic. Yeah.
So we're discussing. I'm just going through really exciting stuff like star luminosity and spectral type. I'm going to skip the companion star, but you can. Well, here we go.
You're muted, Owen.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
People who are excited about those things will be excited, and people who aren't excited about it can roll it, note it, and move on.
Yep. Well, and of course, you can always pick too.
Yeah.
You know, if you're making your own. One class lower than primary. Okay. One class lower.
Okay, so what does that mean?
That means its luminosity is going to be one class lower than the primary star. So if you go back to the luminosity class, it's a class 3 giant.
Okay, gotcha.
Instead of
capable of sustaining life.
Well, yeah. Well, the system will be. Yeah, we're just to the star right now.
I see.
So we just made and then for class 3 companion star, and then for spectral type 3 is same as the primary. So it's a yellow star, one class smaller. So now we get to orbital zones. As you can see, we actually have a lot of detail here on the orbital zones, how close the planet is from the sun, the frost line, all kinds of fun stuff in here.
Jeremiah, I like that. Jeremiah says the science nerd in me is excited by it. It is material for cool story elements, and I'm sure you're talking about the summon Owen skill that you all get just for watching. So
yeah, and if you're not a science nerd, don't be overwhelmed. We do not require you to understand gravitational mechanics, launch windows, Goldilocks zones of survival. You don't need a degree to play, run, or write up a system in this game.
Right.
It's just that if you do recognize these terms, then a lot of what's being said actually makes sense, which that's what we want, right? We want people who do know to not roll their eyes and say that's ridiculous, and we want people who don't know to have enough to be able to use it if they need to and then move on.
That's right. Hey, our good friend Temporary asked a question that was covered a little bit ago, but does a certain Laconian empire make an appearance? And that's a no, right?
Only in the smallest sense. The Laconia is described as a world. We're not into the Laconian empire phase yet, so fingers crossed. We'll see that in the future, but right now we are not quite there yet. And I just want to bounce off of what Owen said there. The great thing about this too is it walks you through everything. You don't even have to understand anything of what you're doing, right? And it'll create a viable system for you that would be realistic, that would work.
That's right.
And so you could spout off all these numbers and stuff, and if you know nothing about it, the science nerd at the table is going to go, "Yeah, that's cool,"
I like it.
Yeah, you don't need to know what any of this means. No, we try to explain everything as much as we can. Again, that was the fine line between turning this into a science book and making it a game book.
Yeah, and it's there are the grognard among us that want to the rules and the science, and people who want to have some fun, and this is a nice way to build that bridge between the two.
Yep,
I dig it.
So rolling on the orbital placement. Okay, well that's all the possible planets. I'm not going to get into all the possible planets and moons in the system because that could take forever.
Yeah, we only have this is only an hour program. I know people want it to go for like 3, 4, 5 hours, but and they ask.
Yeah. So first thing you do here is determine. Wait, that's not the first thing you do. Orbital period. First thing you do is determine your rotational period. So you roll 2d6, 10, and then you roll 10 dice to determine how many hours in the day that it is. I'm just going to take the average of that and say it's a 35-hour day. Somewhere around there.
And again, if you all decided it was 35 hours and 12 minutes, right? It doesn't.
It actually gives you an option. It actually gives you an option for doing minutes as well, if you want.
Hey, if that's the detail, then you can go for it. If you're more like me, just give me the rough outline. I'm good too.
So for gravity is roll 1d6 minus 1d6, which gives you a result of -5 to +5. And then you multiply that result by 0.05, which gives you a gravity between 0.75 and 1.25, all of which are doable for humans, which I ended up with a 2 times point. I rolled a 5 and a 3 to take away 2, which means it's got a 1g gravity. So it's pretty much like Earth.
A slowly rotating Earth with a long day.
Long day, yes.
I like that. Jeremy, real quick, says, I want someone to run a colony game for me. Also, I want to have the time to do more games. We grant it. You are granted your one wish. You have all the time you need now.
Use it wisely.
Use it wisely. Playing games.
Next thing you do, so simple.
Really. Next thing you do is come up with the atmospheric composition. And obviously, if you want it to just be an Earth-friendly, breathable atmosphere, you can go with that. If you want to roll to see what the atmosphere is like, if you want to have a more unusual atmosphere, you can do that. If you want to do it completely randomly, you can do that. Normally, you roll 3d6 on a 6 or higher. The atmosphere is perfectly safe, breathable by humans, yada, yada. On a 5 or less, there's something weird about the atmosphere. And then you have a chart with various possible things: chlorine, sulfur, high carbon dioxide, low oxygen, high oxygen, or pollutants. And then it goes through and describes each. I also love that piece of art too. I just need to stop.
Yeah, that's great.
Goes through and describe those. You go through and just determine your hydrosphere, how much of the surface is covered by water. 2d6 minus 2. Oh, wow, that's a sparse. This is a dry planet, so that would be 2, which means it's 20% water. The ecosphere.
Did you just rule up Arrakis?
I may have. Yeah. Big. I don't know how long Arrakis's days are.
I'm sure someone on the internet knows that. I don't.
I'm sure someone in this chat knows that. I like how Jonesy says Earth of Mondays. That's just mean.
That's about it. And then we have the ecosphere. What kind of creatures are there? There we have all kinds of rules for making different types of creatures. And they're all Earth analogs, flyer analog, razor analog, hunter analog. Swarm analog. There's also a table to determine how many artifacts, how many builder artifacts are. So that's a lot of fun.
What are we looking at here in this picture then? Is that an artifact?
That would potentially be an artifact. Yeah, some kind of weird robot looking thing.
Right, robot mantis.
Robotus.
That planet's a little freaky for me.
But so there's are artifacts present, and how many of them are there? What types of artifacts are present? And then we discuss the various types of artifacts. Owen mentioned the churn. It put me on the spot with the churn earlier, and there's actually a separate section, a sidebar for artifacts and interacting with the churn, which if you read Kabbalah Burn, that fits right in. Something happens and the artifact wakes up. And there's also another fun section, which is oddities. You can have a system oddity, a planetary oddity, or an environmental oddity, and just all kinds of crazy stuff.
That's great. What is it? What happens? Like, what are the? I mean, we generally play around with one of the three
Right.
here on a daily basis, but
system oddities could be the primary star has a black hole companion. The system is dead. All the planets are lifeless. There's a gas giant closest to the star emits heat and has a powerful enough magnetosphere that one of the large moons is a terrestrial planet. So just things like that. That's for the system. For the planet, you could have higher or lower gravity. Planet's rotations reversed from Earth. Has a even slower rotational period. Things like that. And then environmental oddities. It could be atmospheric elements that lend to strange smells, like Laconia's minty scent after rains. Or that the plants, unusually adapted to hosting Earth flora, so you can actually grow Earth plants there. Or just all kinds of things like that. I don't want to go over all of them.
I like, a black hole sun, if you will. Larry. I love that.
You can very much have it. So that's about it. You get there's these cool, nifty little sheets you can photocopy or print if you get the PDF, which Troy, cue you about the PDF.
That's right. So the PDF is, you get that PDF because you go to the store, the Green Ronin store at greenroninstore.com, and I'll drop the link and you will click on that. When you order your pre-order for the print book, you can pick up the PDF for $5, like immediately. You don't have to wait. Like, you just get it, and then you can dive into all the things that Ian's talked about during this program. And I'm going to paste that link in there. Go pick it up. This is a phenomenal deal.
And Jeremiah McCoy, so the giant emerald. That's probably a little beyond that, but we do actually have a few in dead systems. There's some stuff like that.
Gotcha. That's a beyond the ring.
Beyond the ring, yeah. And then crazy table, sheet here for your entire star system to go wild.
Oh, that's great. That is really that's fantastic. And I really like the aesthetic of the Expanse layout and all that stuff. It's really slick. Real quick, I wanted to add something real fast. I'm going to occlude your faces for a moment just to say I'm going to make this available. We'll publish this. It was what we gave out during our Christmas in December event, but it's the churn tracker. Created by I love it. It's kind of helps you, if you're on stream, it's great if you want to print it out and laminate it, but it just kind of gives you all the details so that you can track your churn and pull something epic. So there you go. We'll make that available in some social posts so you can download it, and it's huge too, so it's real nice.
So that's a thing actually. I've had a couple questions come in recently about should the churn tracker be visible or not to the players. That's honestly up to you, up to the individual GM. Personally, I'd say put it out, because part of the whole thing is the tension of the churn tracker, increasing. So it's just kind of a nice visual off to the side, the players might occasionally look over and go, "Oh God!"
Right, yeah, and if you're streaming, it also gives, like, there are some incentives. I've seen people do some fundraisers where they actually kick a little money in to move the churn forward or backward. That's tense making as well, but I could also see where a GM might want to keep that back and maybe just make churn noises louder or quieter.
So this is the sort of place where I, as a GM, would generally keep the churn tracker visible and tell people that you're getting news reports and you've got your contacts. But then, if the players are entirely cut off from communication for a while, I might, as a big deal, say, "Okay, the churn tracker is currently unseen because you are out of touch. You don't know what the chances are that something's going to happen or that there's news coming out," and make that part of the stress, right? We normally see the churn tracker and we're hearing, there's a new news report out. There's a new statement from someone. There are weird readings coming from someplace. But then if you are all ditched someplace, if, say, a giant meteor has struck the planet and you don't have any radio arrays, that's when, as a GM, I would hide it and tell players, if you get back in touch, you will get back to getting to know what the churn level is.
I love that. And Jeremiah's got kind of the same idea here, and that is that the churn as it exists and players knowing that it's there, it gives that sense of the tension's mounting and they can then role play accordingly. I like that,
Yep.
Jeremiah. That's great.
But I love that idea. I might steal that.
It's so good, Owen. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, so that is the book in a nutshell, or in a black hole, or whatever you want to call it.
The timing, Ian, you are like you should do this for a living, because we are 1 minute away from being finito for this particular episode of ThursdAGE. And Owen and I, when we kind of kicked up our planning process, really wanted to make sure that we just had enough, we're just making room for all of the things that we've got going that run on the adventure game engine. And we've got some great stuff happening with live streams for Beyond the Ring, and that'll be next. We'll publish a schedule, but I think we've got a total of 5, or is it 4 plus this one?
Well, it would be total. Well, this for the actual play.
The actual play. Yeah,
it'll be session 0 and then 3 sessions.
That's right. Yeah. So absolutely. Yeah. So it's going to be great. Now listen to this. The cast, we have managed to pull from people who are streaming online right now, like folks at Abraxas Precipice. Thank you, Larry. Thank you so much. I was going to say, Larry dropped a really good advice, and that would be that every extension GM should have a blender at their GMing station, and they hit the frappe button and indicate that the churn has changed. And it's also good for margaritas, which I like. But thank you for the kind words, Larry. But yeah, so we've got Abraxas Precipice and then friends from Fresh Out the Box. Now, these are Expanse streamers that stream every single week, and they're coming to be participants in our actual plays, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. You'll be running some stuff, Ian, and I'm looking forward to it. Now, you're actually going to also kind of build the world and do a little bit more of that in that session 0, and
we're going to make the colony. We're actually going to make the colony and discuss. It'll be a conversation between the players of exactly what they want to do, and what focus they want to have it be. But we'll actually build the colony during a session 0 and go over a few ground rules, and then we'll be up and running.
Fantastic. That is, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We will get a schedule out to everybody so you can attend. You also want to check out that pre-order. You want to go to greenroninstore.com, at the link that I dropped in chat, and pick up the pre-order so you can get sort of bone up on Beyond the Ring PDF for $5, and then be ready to remind Ian what the rules are when we kick off the. It takes a village to make a colony. Hey, gentlemen, a great program. I really appreciate it. I've been so looking forward to Beyond the Ring, and I'm really pleased at the reaction, the sentiment. People are just really, really excited about diving into this. And I think our actual plays will give them some context. And then, the worlds are theirs, and I think it'll be a ton of a lot of fun. Absolutely, RPG Alliance says I always appreciate the art Green Ronin has. Well, we do too, and we appreciate you. Thank you, Jonesy says great preview. With that, I say everybody have a great rest of your week. Keep your eye out for the actual plays that will start next Friday, not this, but the next. And Owen and I will be back on Thursday to talk about other things on ThursdAGE. You know, Monday is Mutants and Masterminds Monday with Crystal Frazier, Steve Kinson, and oh my gosh, why am I forgetting? How could I forget our third co-host? I am a Nimrod. Alex Thomas, thank you, Brain. And we talk Mutants Mastermind stuff. It's a blast. We love streaming. We love you. So do me a favor, everybody, tune in. And if you pick up Beyond the Ring, show us a picture. You know, tell us about your thoughts on the Twitter or the Facebook, and we will happily, retweet the nice stuff and ignore all that other stuff. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye, folks.